welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. I'm actually on the website right now. This is episode 386. Although it should be much higher, mostly because I took, 6 months off at one point. But I was still doing interviews. Anyway, welcome back in. We are coming off hot of an interview with comedian Jamel Johnson. That was prior to this. What? Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm looking at the LinkedIn Logs podcasting page, and I uploaded the wrong everything for a video. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who cares? I'll fix it myself. Welcome back. Yes, Jamel Johnson, comedian. Just put out an interview with him. We're coming up hot rapidly on the 13th anniversary. We are in year 13. And it's coming up soon. I am quite frankly, I am trying to do something special. Last year I did like a video compilation. This year I don't want to do that. It took so much work and so much effort. So I'm trying to figure out something to do. You know what? I'll just go ahead and say it. There are two people. I sent out several emails for interviews. And there are two people that I'm almost positive. First of all, I think I could get everybody I emailed or DM'd on Instagram. Second, there are two people. One that popped up yesterday. Whose people asked me, and I said, that'd be great. And then the second one was I reached out to them, to their person, and their person said, this is their personal email. And then I personally emailed them. Then I had to re-personally email them again. And then they were like, yes, I am touring though. I'm about to go off, but so in 2 weeks it'll be better. And I went, all right. That was just a nice cold call. So we'll see about that. It's a hard knock life out there. Oh, what did I see? Oh, last week I saw Disclosure Day. And I was going to talk about, how do you spell Disclosure Day? I was going to talk about all the people I've made famous. It was me. I made them famous. I'm looking at some names right now, but I'm not going to do that. I did see Disclosure Day last Friday. I spoke about this a little bit in Late Night Lately, I think, or LinkedIn Logs. I don't know. There's too many stupid shows. But at work, we're doing Summer Fridays, and since I am somebody, again, I'm not in charge of anybody, and but because of my position, I have to work half days. So the people that are participating in Summer Fridays don't have to work those days, but I am a person who more or less does a half day. On Friday mornings, I typically do my grocery shopping. I come home from the gym, I shower and eat, and I get all my coupons together for whatever store I'm going to. Stores. I go to multiple stores. I save money. I drive a hybrid, so I can save on gas too. Although, oh man, last Saturday I went to an engagement party in Ackworth. Ackworth is roughly an hour outside the city, north. And first of all, this really pissed me off. I was driving, and I'm coming through Midtown. I live in East Atlanta. I'm coming through Midtown. And there's a lot of traffic. It was the World Cup had commenced, and there's events downtown. So I'm driving through Midtown, and I get in Google's telling me in order to avoid traffic, go 85 north and then head towards 400, but get off at Buford Highway, whatever. Okay. So I get off before Buckhead, and then it tells me to get off. So I get off before Buckhead, and then now I'm basically by 11 Alive News where I used to work. I'm basically like, God, closer to Morningside Linux. The Morningside. I say Morningside Drive. Anyway. And then it tells me to get off and then to essentially start heading back towards Midtown. And I'm going, what is going on? And my commute, the thing is, it's going from like 45 minutes to like 47 to like 52 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? And what it does is it sends me essentially like back towards Piedmont Park, and then it's taking me all through all these surface roads, and then it literally does take me through Midtown again, and then it sends me back on the highway, and it says don't take 85 or don't take 75, take 85 or whatever, whichever one I didn't take, because it's 75, 85 northbound, whatever, doesn't matter. So whichever one I said before, I took the other one, 75, and then I started heading up towards the west side of Atlanta. It started taking me up west side north. I was so pissed, and I was, because I saw it took me, I was looking at the Google Maps. It took me through Midtown by SCAD, and I was like, it wasn't, sorry. Anyway, I arrived about 10 or 15 minutes later than I wanted to, and then I hung out with my friends, and we did all that. It was like a 2-hour thing, and then people started leaving, and I was like, look, it took me an hour to get up here. You better believe I'm staying up here a little bit longer. Anyway, all that to say is I put gas in the car. Gas is expensive, but I did put gas in the car, and anyway, thank God I drive a hybrid. So I did go to, they have a FIFA Fan Fest, and I'll get to Disclosure Day in a second. They have a FIFA Fan Fest down here in Atlanta, right next to the stadium that is holding Mercedes-Benz Stadium, or right now it's Atlanta Stadium, that is throwing one of the or throwing some World Cup games, and it's great. The atmosphere is fun. Unfortunately, people are crazy and insane, and I had a friend on today. It was Sunday. She hits me up. I made breakfast. Was it Sunday? It had to be Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. She hits me up. I already made breakfast, and I'm about to eat, and she goes, do you want to go to this fan fest? And I go, sure, why not? And she takes the choo-choo down from the suburbs, and I ride my bike. Normally when you ride a bike, you're going places, you carry a backpack and a water with you. Guess what's not allowed inside of the free fan fest event? A backpack and water. It's ridiculous. So I had to find some place to lock up my bike. I locked it up in a very public place. I did take my phone cradle with me because I was, that's like the thing that you can take off. It was a cheap phone cradle, but also, So I locked it up in a very, it was right in front of, there was like two entrances. It was right in front of one entrance because there's not, there weren't designated bike lockup areas. And then I hear this woman tell several families with strollers and babies, and if I'm defending people with babies, it's a serious thing. Strollers and babies, stopping people. They're a woman stopping people. You can't take it inside. You can't take that baby bag inside. It's too big. People are like, but we took an Uber here, or our car is 17 miles away. We took the train here. Well, you have to leave it. And then she's directing people to, remember, it's a free event, to a locker system that is by the Omni Hotel. And it's like 4 or 5 blocks lengths away. So I walk up there with my backpack and I take my water out, and then I spend $15 on the small locker. I don't know how much the large locker was. I didn't even look. And I was so mad. And so I spend this $15 because I'm thinking this is a free event. So I spend $15, put my bag in this locker, and I take my water. It was a Yeti. It's roughly, if you're watching the video, it's roughly this size. I have my Hydro Flask. I'm holding my Hydro Flask up. It's roughly the size of this Hydro Flask, which is 40 ounces. And I'm walking down, and I get to the gate. I'm like walking through. They don't have any fucking metal detectors. I'm walking through. You can't take that. You can't take the Stanley with you, and this is how you know I was frustrated, because there wasn't designated bike parking. I had to pay $15 for this thing, and also it's hot as shit. I go, I just fucking came from the goddamn lockers. This is bullshit. And I immediately turn around, and people are looking at me. I'm like, fuck this place. And I don't feel any regret, because I've been microdosing mushrooms. I'm fine. I don't give a shit anymore. So I go back to the thing, and I'm texting my friend. By this point, I'm 30 minutes late. I'm texting my friend. I'm like, they made me perfect fucking. And then I finally get inside. At this point, I don't care what happens. I'm jaywalking. There's cops everywhere. For a free event, and for them being so on top of everything, they have all these cops everywhere. And when I say just not like, it's like a militia, and they're carrying guns that I would only see in Call of Duty. So I finally get in. And I run into my friend. My friend and I are there, and I apologize profusely, and then it immediately starts raining, just hard. So we run under a tent, and she's telling me about all the stuff that's there. There's like all these what they refer to and what she refers to as activations. You just wait in line to get like there's a charm bracelet one. There's another one that was sponsored by Home Depot, and you paint a tile or something. I don't know if you get to take it home. There's all these different activations, taking pictures, kicking goals, and none of that is my bag. But she was like, let's get in line for an activation. I said, great, let's do this. The line is 2 hours long. And then they're stopping people, and because apparently this is what I heard from a woman, because I asked her directly, who was a volunteer who was working the event. She goes, we had to stop the lines. We're ending this line, one for the charm bracelet. We're ending this line because people are too unruly. People are being so rude to us, and it's for our safety. And I was like, it's not for the rain or the thunder or the lightning. She goes, no, like it's for our safety. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And it was just an insane, crazy thing. But the event was fun. I was like, hey, it's hot outside. So, and I know she rode down from the suburbs, and I was like, let me buy you a water, and I'll get myself a drink. The water was $6. And the drink I bought was a lemon drop martini in a can. It was $16. And then how dare and it's not the kid who's selling the merchant or whatever who's selling the thing. She was a child. It was not the merchant's fault, but he holds up the terminal to me, and it just immediately asks for tip, and I'm just I'm burning up. All I want is this drink. I just give him a tip. And then I immediately regret it, because all he did was give us drinks. So then we go, and then also it's in Centennial Olympic Park. So they have this giant screen where they're showing soccer games. There's a stage, and everybody is usually like at some point they have people performing songs, and I guess that's in between matches, but no one was performing at that time. It was just a DJ, and he was like talking during the commercial breaks and everything, and quite frankly, he was just annoying. But they needed that hype man. It's a necessary evil, and but it's a fun event, and I guess it's going on the entirety of the World Cup. My friend did send me a TikTok on Monday morning of another young woman who waited in line, who also waited in line for the charm bracelet that day, Monday, and that was 2 hours. And I said to her, I was like, hey, I'll wait in line for you since I'm down here. And then I did not, because I was working. And also because we assumed that a weekday people would be working. But lo and behold, Monday morning, people are willing to wait 2 hours. Anyway, it was a nice event. It was a nice thing to say I went to. I'd like to go to. I don't like soccer, but I'd like to go to a World Cup match. I think anybody, if you're interested in whatever sport, try to, and you have the capabilities of going to the biggest version of it, then go. Don't get yourself in a poorhouse because of it. Just go. I go to the FedEx Championship every year for golf. I went to a Super Bowl thanks to an ex's parents, who were season ticket holders to the Patriots, and they couldn't make it down to Atlanta when they were here, and they gave them to us. So yeah, I would love to go to a World Series. I'd love to go to the Stanley Cup, women's basketball, women's soccer. That'd be great. I'm sure the atmosphere would be electric for any of those. And okay, now disclosure day. I've been sitting looking at the Wikipedia page the entire time. Disclosure Day is Steven Spielberg's third Alien movie. It would be very funny if E.T. came out at the end. It was like, it's me, E.T. What up, bitches? Go into the movie knowing that the world is on the brink of World War III. That, I think, because it is never explicitly said. I get back. So let me hang up the phone on this. So my summer Friday, I work a half day. I get back from the grocery store at 10:45, something like that. The movie starts at 11. I leave the house because I sit down and I do some work because I got back so late. I do some work, and I send out a couple of messages. And the movie, again, starts at 11. I leave at 11:05. I hop on my bike. And also I make a lunch. Oh, no. I bought a lunch. I bought a sandwich at Publix. And also bring in a bunch of other snacks. Hey, buddy. So I hop on my bike. And I get there in roughly 9 minutes. 9 or so minutes. Lock up my bike. I've already paid for the ticket. I walk in, I get it scanned, and I'm drenched in sweat because it's 11:15 on a Friday, on a hot sunny Friday. I walk in at the exact moment Nicole Kidman starts talking, and I go, "What is this luck? How great is this?" I sit down, I wipe myself off with my shirt. And I have to sit in the second row. I usually like the third row, but there were people in the third row, and Daddy doesn't like being near people. I'm trying to go see Toy Story 5 tomorrow, but I might have to save it for next Friday, which is my birthday. And it also happens to be another summer Friday because we're not working on Juneteenth. All right. Closing the work laptop. We're done for 3 days, baby. go into this movie knowing that it is World War, like we are, like the world is on the edge of World War III. I think that sets everything up because there are little flecks of information that they give off, that truly, if you're not paying attention to it, then you're going to be like, wait, what's going on? Because by the end of the movie, by the third act, when everybody when when Emily Blunt, and this is not ruining the movie, when Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor and Coleman Domingo and Colin Firth are all talking about, and Eve Hewson are all talking, the beautiful Eve Hewson, Bono's daughter, when they're all talking about disclosing to the world that aliens exist, they all keep mentioning the missiles are about to fly and you want to talk about aliens. And at that point I put it together, go, oh, I guess World War III is about to happen. And they go, people are rioting in the streets right now. That is something I think needs to be explicitly said. It's because it happens so late in the movie where they literally say the words World War III. So anyway, go into it knowing that. Emily Blunt does an excellent job. She's she's always good. I don't know why Josh O'Connor is in this role. I'll say it to his face. It's a pretty white movie. As a Steven Spielberg movie is, I would not accept anything different. But I really enjoyed it. David Koepp's script is it's just fast paced. The movie starts in the middle of action. And I heard an interview with Spielberg this week, and he said that he wanted this movie to start as if it was already in the fourth act of a 6-act movie. We're already in the middle of something big. There are moments it slows down, but largely for its 2 hours and 25-minute runtime, it's good. Again, this movie is not diverse at all. Coleman Domingo is really holding things down. I just don't understand. I don't understand. There are some ancillary characters of color, but man, it must have been tough. It's enjoyable. It's very popcorny. I don't necessarily think, if this were somebody else, it would be heavier and weightier. But because of the script and because of Spielberg's direction, and because of John Williams' music, it is truly it's kind of almost a little bit childish in a lot of ways. That's not negative. I did go in thinking this is going to be a heavy movie, and it's going to be, why do I do heavy like this? It's going to be a heavy movie, and that's all I know. I also did not know Colin Firth is in this movie because this is a movie I do not like watching trailers. I did watch the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer this morning, and I don't understand why there's an invisible guy. There's like an invisible guy fighting Spider-Man. Hulk is in it. The Punisher's in it. Scorpion is in it. They gave a wig to the actor that plays Ned. I believe he has alopecia, and they gave him a wig. And Zendaya's doing great things. That Spider-Man movie is more diverse than every Steven Spielberg movie for the past 5 years. I do like the science in Disclosure Day, and I do appreciate the explanation as to why Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor are so important. I don't know why they were chosen. Like their characters in that movie were chosen. I don't understand it. But in the end, I think it's a good movie. There are 2 good space movies this year: Disclosure Day and Project Hail Mary. All right, let's move on to. I've been talking for too long. Let's move on. I have a couple of stories. This comes from Variety. Written by Brian Steinberg. Morning Scramble: NBA Finals don't give GMA enough bounce. CBS Morning slips once more. If you are an avid viewer of morning news shows like I am, I get home from the gym and I put them on, and either I hop on the bike, or I do Pilates, or I stretch, and I watch until I watch the A slot, essentially. In television, there's an A, there's a B, there's a C, and there's a D. There's a D if it's an hour long. And those are broken up. It goes A, and then like that's typically the first until the commercial break, and then B. It's television news. It's how I've learned. Usually they all cover mostly the same stories, and you're just getting different, not versions, but different takes on it and everything. And I've gone on record. I say this on LinkedIn logs all the time. Today's Show is the better of the 3. On YouTube TV, they now have multi-view, so I don't have to switch between channels anymore. But I watch CNN this morning because I worked on that show, and then CBS, GMA, CBS Mornings, GMA, and Today's Show. And Today's Show is and always presumably will be the better of the 3 morning shows. And then at some point, I just switched to CNN and miss now. Sometimes NBC has the Olympics, and their ratings just skyrocket because of the Olympics. And Today's Show gets exclusive coverage of a lot of stuff. That should have happened for Good Morning America when it came to the NBA Finals. This is ABC's first year with the finals, and the telecast of the 2026 NBA Finals last week between the Knicks and the Spurs was the most watched in 28 years, according to Nielsen, reaching an average of about 20.6 million viewers on ABC and ESPN. But none of that translated to the good ratings for GMA. The Today Show, which is on NBC, captured an average of 3.6 million for the 5 days ending in June 12th, according to Nielsen, compared to 2.87 for GMA and 1.65 for CBS Mornings. Today's Show also captured 682,000 viewers between the ages of 25 and 54, which is a great demographic because advertisers want that for news programs. Meanwhile, GMA had 486,000 and CBS had 264,000. CBS Mornings seems to be very much like CBS Evening News, leaking audiences. Although CBS Evening News has evened out to roughly 4 million. But after Tony DeCopel was hired for CBS Evening News, they just, and because of Barry Weiss and because of all that stuff that's happening there, they were just leaking audience. Last week's viewer activity marked the 26th consecutive week that Today has won more than 1 million viewers over its CBS rival, which is the longest streak since May of 2015. Now, it's not to say that GMA did not get an NBA Finals boost. It rose 6%, but Today had a 3% boost that just helped keep it above. I think it all, in my eyes, this is all this show is. In my eyes, the most important aspect of any talk show is the cast. And when I watch these shows in the morning, when I was working on CNN this morning, John Berman and Sarah Seidner and Kate Baldwin they just seem to click and work together. Versus the previous hosts of that show, which were Don Lemon and Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. I don't know if those people liked each other. I don't even know if those people had conversations before the show started. Again, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it one more time. When they were hired to host that show, the three of them went, Harlow, Lemon, and Collins, went to a basketball game with David Zaslav, as presumably the Knicks. And it just looked like four people who did not belong at any sporting event. I'll say it to their faces, too. Add them to the list. I don't care how attracted I am to Caitlin Collins. I think it's the way people talk to each other and the way they can banter. It's just very clear that CBS Mornings is so surface level. And this is not to take away from their abilities, but I don't think Gayle King knows how to... She's a good news person. I don't think she is. Listening to her pretend to talk about sports is some of the most frustrating things I've seen in news. And I watched a clip of Jesse Waters say that he was going to give... Because J.D. Vance was on The Five on Fox News, and he was like, I have pickle cake, and there's pickles on top of the cake, and there's pickles. It's a green cake. I was gonna do fudge, but that's too gay. Jesse I hate him so much. I hate everybody at Fox 5 or Fox 5. I do everybody at Fox 5 and Fox News. And then when you watch GMA, George Stephanopoulos and Robin Roberts and Michael Strahan, I think they have a better connection than CBS Mornings. But again, I don't. Someone is always missing from that show. I don't know if they've ever done a full week with all three of them sitting in their seats. And then on top of that, they always have, every time I'm on the bike or I'm stretching and I look up or I look over to whatever part of the screen that YouTube TV has placed GMA on, there's more than three people at that desk. And there does not need to be more than three people at the morning show desk. You have your cast. Just do that. Everybody else should be off to the side. And then we look at today. You have Savannah and Craig, and then you have I would not call him ancillary, but you have the great Al Roker, and then other people come in, Jenna, and what's his name? Not Carlson. What's his name? The guy who hosted the show that one time. What's his name? He hosted at 2 a.m. Carson. No, it's not Carson. Whatever. Him. I'm tired. But you have these people who earn their spots there. Meanwhile, at GMA, I don't know who those people are. I mean, obviously, I know Rachel Scott. I know Ginger. I know the women. I know Rhiannon. Is that how you pronounce it? Rhiannon Alley. Ugh, just such beautiful women. Again, this is not to take away from their skills. There's just too much going on. You don't think I on CBS Mornings, Kelly O'Grady pops up, Caitlin Huey Burns pop up, Adriana Diaz, Jerika Duncan pop up. I'm not paying attention. This is so stupid. But don't expect the big event to give you the boost when you don't have the people to go. Again, also speaking of people who don't know how to talk about sports, GMA. George Stephanopoulos going, they sure did hit a big one, the basketball. All right, let's move on. This comes from Variety. It's written by Matt Minton. Streaming titles are following the theatrical trend of less diversity, finds UCLA Hollywood Report. This is one of those reports that comes out every so often. UCLA's Hollywood Diversity Report has found that diversity in streaming movies is falling overall, following in the footsteps of theatrical releases. Thankfully, last year there was a movie called K-Pop Demon Hunters that came out and really put a genre of music, a race of actor, and just it put a lot of people on top. And that's why it's still in the top 10 list for Netflix. And that's why people like it. Every type of demographic likes it. The overall data is taken from streaming titles released in the year 2025, as well as household demographics, with people of color losing ground in all key employment categories. Leads of color dropped from last year's share of 51% to 36%. While streaming films helmed by people of color, I'm not saying BIPOC, fell to 31.5%. Streaming films directed by women also declined to 23.6%. You can say it's a contrition within the industry, and that is plausible, and that is part of it. But also, when I said why is Josh O'Connor in Disclosure Day? That could be any other actor. The same thing can go for Colin Firth's character. The same thing can go for Eve Hewson's character. I'm leaving Emily Blunt. She can stay. And I do like Eve Hewson, but also Wyatt Russell. He did nothing in that movie. So why not give people of color these chances to star in things? I didn't watch Heated Rivalry. I didn't watch Heated Rivalry, but I looked at the cast list. Not a lot of color people. And you can say it's a show about hockey, but also it's a fake made up thing. If these things are fake and made up, I just watched Michael B. Jordan in what is that Netflix movie? Scrapped? Is that what it's called? Swapped. And in that movie, the top 5 people are Michael B. Jordan, Juno Temple, Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer, and Justina Machado. That is a diverse movie. But when we continually, this is my biggest issue with this industry, is that, overseas theatrically, movies typically with white actors are the ones that do the best. And then you have movies like, when you look at streaming, Nona's. Yes, that's a movie starring 3 or 4 women of a certain age, but there were no people of color in that movie, and it takes place in New York. Happy Gilmore 2 was more diverse than that. I can't contemplate why the same missteps are happening over and over again. No, it's a theory this is a theory I've been holding on to. But it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter who you do or don't believe in, or what you do or don't believe in. It doesn't matter how many kids you do or don't have. None of it. It doesn't matter if you run a marathon. It doesn't. People have ingrown biases and prejudices that they don't want to admit to or cop to. People still cross the street when I'm walking down. Yesterday, oh my gosh, just running down the street with Maverick. People were looking as if I was running down the street with 2 guns in my hand. People with doodles and golden retrievers stopping in their tracks, pulling over to the side. I'm running down the street. We're all doing the same fucking thing. It's 5:00 on a Wednesday. We're all hanging out with our dogs. Don't be surprised. But I'm supposed to be like, ugh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I adopted him. And the interesting thing is that UCLA previously reported earlier this year, and I'm going to refer you to this Variety piece written by Arushi Jacob that I more than likely talked about. Audiences prefer films with diverse casts. It's a known fact. People want to see movies like Encanto and Turning Red and Moana. Moana doesn't need a live action movie version. It didn't need a sequel. And yet, people went to go see these movies and people were talking about it. That's why they did successfully. They did successfully. I love Encanto and Moana. Turning Red. I have a lot of issues with Turning Red. Again, we are in a bit of a slowdown with the entertainment industry, but also, come on. Next up, this comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by George Zaslai and Etan Vlessing. Fox to acquire Roku in a $22 billion deal. Lachlan Murdoch has decided to purchase Roku, which is not good. Now, I saw this happen. It was Monday. I saw this happen. And my immediate thought was, that's good for Roku. Quite frankly, it's a good deal for Roku. For Lachlan Murdoch, it's a good decision. That's business. On the other end of it, Fox Corp now owns, or is going to own, the biggest connected television platform in the world. On top of that, Roku also has a bunch of streaming properties free in the same way that Tubi is free. The transaction combines Fox's sports, news, and entertainment content and the Tubi streaming platform with Roku's connected TV platform, the Roku Channel, first-party data, and direct relationship with more than 100 million global streaming households. That's huge. Again, this is great for Fox. I'm not saying it's great for the industry. It's great for Fox. Remember, Fox purchased Tubi in 2020. Tubi is doing well. And according to Lachlan, it continues a strategy of, quote, focus over scale's sake, end quote, that avoids the media giant getting caught up in the arms race around the streaming industry. If this deal goes through, Fox will own Fox One, Fox Nation. Hold on. Is Fox One still? Okay. And then Fox Nation. Yes. So Fox One, Fox Nation, which is their other streaming thing before Fox One, Tubi, and Roku Channel. On top of that, Sinclair and the rest of the local affiliates. This combined company will immediately make them the third largest player in U.S. television by share of viewing. There's no way. And then my next immediate thought after this was, there's no way that the Roku Channel survives. The Roku Channel, by all means, is an excellent free streaming thing. I like it. You get a bunch of free stuff. You get a bunch of live channels. It is also the place, if you remember, that purchased a lot of Quibi assets, which is, good and bad. What's on my save list? Let me sign in. I don't go on the Roku Channel on the computer. No one should watch anything on a computer. Ugh, enter a code? Jesus, I gotta open up the email. Ooh, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 is on sale. All right, let me sign in. All right, on my list, there's a lot of great British baking show, including Juniors, the American version, Canadian, American Baking Show, Great Pottery Throwdown, American Baking Show, Celebrity Holiday. It's America's Test Kitchen, Milk Street, Chris Kimball's Milk Street, and the Mapleworth Murders. There's a lot of great stuff to be offered on the Roku platform for free, and everybody can access it, even if you don't have Roku. But again, this is bad in the long run. I do believe I could see Roku being folded, Roku channel being folded, and Tubi being that offering for free. Roku is expected to accelerate Fox's push into international markets, including recently into Latin America after a focus on the domestic U.S. market. They'll be kept separate after the two companies are combined to, quote, continue to serve viewers in the way they do now. No. At some point over the next 3 years, I believe Roku will be neutered. In the same way that Amazon killed Freevee in favor of just putting free stuff on Prime Video. All right. And let me see. What's going on here? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. What? Oh, okay. Something's happening with Notion. And I can't. Okay, thank God. All right, this next one, the final story comes from, let me exit that. Okay. This final story comes from Deadline, written by Jake Cantor. Too many pop-ups, guys. Too many pop-ups. And I do have an ad blocker. BBC to cancel shows and, quote, review TV networks as it cuts content spending by $107 million. The BBC is basically trying to cut spending across its TV, radio, and news divisions by $107 million over the next 2 years. And in an email to staff, it seems that Matt Britton, who is a former Google executive, said that the savings plan will mean canceling shows and reviewing the BBC's, quote, broadcast TV channels and radio network portfolio as audiences move online. There were no specifics, and I believe some of it has already started, but the efforts form part of wider BBC plans to slash costs by about 670 million American over the next 3 years, expanding on an existing target worth 1.5 billion quid. Up to 2,000 roles will be laid off across the British broadcaster in the coming months. Some 550 roles will be slashed in the BBC's News and Nations divisions, which Britain said, the guy, Matt Britton, said will help deliver 160 million quid of savings. He added that 700 roles will close in the BBC's corporate divisions. The BBC provides a lot of shows and work, and just like, I hate to say content, stuff for the UK. The UK's TV is a lot different compared to America. I believe their TV is government sponsored. I believe the BBC is government sponsored. They have 8 national television channels, and they have different channels like BBC 2, BBC 4. They have BBC 3. This explains why. Oh gosh, what was it? God, Doctor Who. God, I couldn't name the show. I was gonna say the TARDIS. This is why the Doctor Who is taking a long break. Soon after this was announced, I'm not linking to these stories, but BBC News canceled shows like The World Tonight and cuts Today show hosts and reviews presenter roles under grim savings plans. That's Jake Cantor again at Deadline. Additionally, again, Jake Cantor at Deadline wrote, BBC tells producers about plans to slash TV development spend by 15% annually. Oh, people are just leaking things. I love it. When even the radio show is getting hit, you know something is up. I'm concerned about the future of how people get news when you have something like Fox purchasing so many different companies and assets. It doesn't bode well for what's going on. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Sorry. I just saw something in the news. It doesn't bode well for... I'm not going to mention it. It doesn't bode well for what's happening. I wonder if they're... You only hear about smaller companies doing, or smaller organizations doing something positive. And by that I mean like hiring or making new shows. This makes me think about, and I support these people from afar. I do not watch anything they do, but I'm so glad that these young comedians have an outlet. This reminds me of Dropout. Dropout is doing well. Everything they do is behind a paywall. And if you want to support them, then you pay and then you watch their game shows, and I think they have a Dungeons and Dragons show, I think. So you watch all that shit, and you're directly supporting this company, and you're supporting that staff, and you're supporting the crew, and you're supporting the comedians, and that's good. But not everybody can do that. In the same way that, when Scott Galloway is like, Jimmy Kimmel should cancel his show and quit his show and take his 5 most important people and just do it on YouTube and make a podcast. That doesn't translate for everybody. I'm sure if Stephen Colbert made a YouTube show or put a show out on YouTube or did a podcast, it would be spectacular in terms of audience viewership. But that's not translatable for every single person. It's still it's a tough economy. It's a tough industry. C+ Comedy hasn't made a dime in 13 years. Anyway, I hope it all bounces back. I miss peak TV. All right, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to see a video version of those interviews under the interviews, head to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of this show, as well as the other shows. Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. It's got a monologue now. And LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast. You can subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media, YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok at C+ Comedy. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.